And we're going to show how to make a really good chuck. And the main reason for doing this is to get what you're turning away from the jaws of the chuck. And this is something that I've done over 100 times because I used to do a specific type of box where I would use this kind of a joint. But I've got a recess in here for my tenon to fit into, and it's snug. It is not ultra tight, because if it's too tight and you try to force it in and it's not quite perfectly lined up, it's just going to jam. So you want just a snug fit, and I'm going to apply medium super glue to the inside of this recess, and to the tenon that's going to fit in there, I'm going to spray the activator, and then I'm going to use the tailstock to help line everything up and to set. And you can let that sit for just a couple of seconds and it's going to be cured. So now I can turn whatever I want to on this. Okay. You can, if you're going to turn this really far down, you can measure the diameter of your tenon, and then that way you can check to see when you're getting close to it, because you don't want to go into the tenon. So now I can turn this, I can hollow it, I can do anything I want to, and I can get way back to the back side to where if it was in the chuck, I couldn't. And that's the advantage of doing a jam chuck with super glue like this, and I will guarantee you, you cannot get these loose. You can get it loose from the jaws, but this is just a real quick, easy way of making a jam chuck. This is gluing up a rectangular piece of wood to turn a round circle. If I was going to turn this and do any kind of cutout like a bowl or anything, I would have these edges coming around, and unless you're just an absolute perfect turner, you're going to really mess up these edges. And so an easy way of turning this is to glue up two pieces of just, really basically scrap wood that's not really good. This is poplar, and glue it to the piece you're wanting to be round. And so I already have a circle drawn on this, and after I get it glued up, I'll just go and bandsaw this circle off. And to glue this up, I'm going to use super glue, and this is one of those deals where you can actually apply super glue to one side and the activator to the other. But this is going to be turning on the lathe, and I'd like to turn it at a fairly high speed. So I want this to be glued up as well as I can get it. And I'm going to apply glue to both sides, and actually rub them together a little bit, get a little bit of glue spread around, and then I'm going to spray activator to one side and real quickly glue it together, and just use my lines that I've drawn for my circle as a guide. So now I have this glued up, and this will not, you cannot break this apart. This is a very strong joint. And then to do the opposite side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to glue it, or spread the glue, and I want enough glue there. It's not going to be a perfect joint as far as spreading the glue around, but it's going to be good enough for this application. So again, I'm just going to spread the activator to one side and quickly put it together. I'm just going to hold it for a second because that's all it's going to take. And now I can mount this to the lathe after I've bandsawed this circle out, and I can turn a bowl out of this and then come back later and cut off these waste blocks, and then I'll have just the center piece that's going to be turned. Okay, we're going to be gluing up with super glue again, and these are just blocks that I have glued up so that if I'm gluing up a large piece, say like a wall hanging or something, I can actually put my clamps underneath this and clamp it. And I don't have to worry about raising the piece or the piece sagging or anything like that from the weight of the clamps. So I'll just glue these up real quick. And this is another one that I actually put a clamp on so that my clamp tops were not all the same, so that it's easier to tighten them. But to do this, it's just simply putting glue, and this is just some scrap wood. And all I'm going to do is apply the glue to one side, the activator to the other. If you get too much on there, you may want to let it dry off a little bit, and then just hold them for a second. And now I have a really strong joint, and I can build these up to however tall my clamps are, or if you're finishing something and you need to get it raised up off of the table, this again is another way of making riser blocks, basically to set something on that you're finishing or clamping so that it's up off the table. And this is just, basically I use a lot of scrap wood or scrap plywood to make these.